Hello to everyone out there. Welcome to the group Grace Life Support for Toxic Relationship. Thank you for being a part of the group. Thank you for being a part of the community. This group was created to create a safe space for anyone that went through an abusive, toxic relationship, trying to find how God plays a part in their life. And I'm not saying from the experience you went through, but healing with God. Because with my experience, and I'm speaking personally from myself, when I came out the relationship, I did seek help. I sought counseling. I sought support group, but all of them were too early. I wanted to know what was God saying to me in that moment. What did God thinking about me ending this domestic violence relationship? What were God plans for me? And to be honest, couldn't no one give me that answer. So I had to start basically my own self healing. Of course, there have been people along the way to encourage. There have been people along the way to give me wisdom and discernment to help. So I wanted to do the same. And so please leave your feedback, make your posts. If there's anything personal you want to say in private, feel free to send a message either on the group page, messenger, or you can go through my personal page, whatever you feel comfortable with. But know that I'm here to support you however I can. And with that being said, also, I love to put God in it. I love to use scriptures because I believe everything works for our good when we allow God to get involved in our lives. And I'm going to get along to the video. So I want to create this video. This is my first video on Facebook for the group. So I titled the video 5 things to debunk that your abuser may have said to you. You may have heard these things exactly how I'm saying them. You may heard them verbatim. You may not heard them at all, but something along the line. But I'm gonna get scripture to just debunk that too. Decimate what that abuser said and what that person said to you, to let you know God didn't say that. That God didn't have that nowhere to be found. So these are the things that I heard in my relationship. The first one, God would curse you if you love me. The next one, my children will fail without a father in their life. They need a 2-parent household. The third one, God will not speak to you. The fourth, a wife must submit to a husband. The last one, you are too weak or feeble-minded. These are just some of the things I heard. For me, I was with my husband for over 10 years. And I can't even begin to go down the list of everything that I heard. It's a lot. And for me, I knew they were not true. However, they still paralyzed me because I didn't know how to find God in the midst of the relationship. It took me a while to get there. And so I want to help someone else to get there quicker. I want to help someone not to even stay long as I did. And also, I definitely want to help someone to heal. Heal once they leave from it, to know that God did never say on type of thing to a person. And the first one, God will curse you if you leave me. Jeremiah 29:11. It would come to my mind. He had plans for your life. He had plans to prosper you, and they are not to harm you, but to bring you hope and a future. So with that being said, God did not intend for you to go through abuse. He does not intend for someone to put their hands on you. He does not intend for someone to verbally put you down, sexually abuse you, and spiritually abuse you, financially abuse you. This is not the will of God for your life or anyone's life for that matter. So he will not curse you for seeking safe haven. He does not curse people for seeking peace. God did not curse people for these things. That I could not find in the Bible, that he would curse you for leaving toxic, unhealthy lifestyle. The next one, for those who have kids, God, or not God, but your children will fail without a two-parent household. They will fail because they don't have their father in their life. And I would say this like this. God did create marriage. He did want all of us to, if we did decide to get married and have the perfect, not the perfect husband, but the righteous man and the righteous woman get together and have kids and produce, and they live in a healthy environment raising their kids. No one is perfect. They're going to be issues. They're going to be, problems that arise. But there's nowhere in the Bible that I found that a single mother was I guess, cursed, or her children fell because the mother was single. There's nowhere in the Bible that God speak about that. And that's where abuser will try to, especially if we have kids, they'll try to make us stay longer because of the kids. And someone said, well, what is it that God wants? He wants you to have peace, and he wants you to enjoy life to the fullest. Your children will not fail if one of the parents are not in the household due to domestic violence, because he understands everything. He knows all things. God does say, if we train a child in the way to go, they shall not depart from it. So with that being said, as you develop your relationship with God and you train your kids up to know the word for themselves and learn who God is, that's the best life. They will not depart from it. And then also think of this scripture, Philippians 4:18, my God supply all my needs accordingly. So when the dad is missing, or however you want to say it, God will step in and fill that void. And to me, he's the best parent that anyone can have. He's the best one. So no, your children will not fail if they have God in their life. Then the third one, God will not speak to you. My husband tried, and I would say my ex-husband used that in a way to say, well, because he the head, and because I guess I was spiritual lacking, God could not and will not speak to me. And totally that's not true. God hears our cries. Psalm 34:18. God is near the brokenhearted, and he saved the crushing spirit. John 10, when Jesus said, my sheep know my voice. And there are many other scriptures that lines up and say, when I cried, he heard me. God hears you and he speaks back. God speaks to women, and that's just period. There are women in the Bible. He spoke to Hagar in Genesis, and that was the handmaid of Abraham and Sarah. He spoke to Deborah, who was a prophet. He spoke to Mary. He spoke to Esther on what to do. God speaks to women. And don't let no one tell you otherwise. The fourth one, Ephesians 5. This come out of Ephesians 5, and it's partial of the scripture because that's how the church taught it, and that's how a lot of male try to dominate a woman for I don't know how long, how many centuries have it been. A wife must submit to her husband. That's in the scripture. A wife must submit to her husband. However, that's partial of the scripture. We have to continue on to until the end of the chapter. And the next part is Husband must love their wives as Christ loved the church. Husband must love his wife as he loved his own body. So that's definitely eliminating out any man that abuses his wife, because we know that Christ will not speak to his wife in verbal language that is not edification, that does not build them up in love, that's not forgiving. We know that Christ will not physically abuse the church or other people, and that's sexual, that's financial. We know that Jesus will not do these things. However, if you find your spouse doing these things, then that wipes out. A wife must submit to her husband. And I'm saying this to say, you don't boldly just go and, you have to always use wisdom, discernment on how you go about these things. But you don't have to sit there and believe, well, I must submit to my husband in what he's telling me to do because he's my husband. But if your husband asks you to do something that will put you in harm's way, do you do it? You have every right to say no and protect yourself. And the last one, you are too weak or feeble-minded. And to me, my ex was saying that just to keep me down, to make me believe that, I did not have the power to believe myself, the power to remove myself from the relationship, the power to know that God is with me. And no one is perfect. Everybody have a weakness. Everybody got an issue. But where your weakness is, God's grace is sufficient. God's grace is the power that will fulfill that void, that weakness, that lack thereof. And that coming for 2 Corinthians 12:9. Also, we can take the same one of Psalm 34:18 and apply it there. He's near the brokenhearted and save the crushed in spirit, or save those who are low in spirit. So these are 5 things that I wanted to put out there. 5 things that I heard. I know I'm probably not the only woman that heard this type of thing. I hope that this, now I don't want to say I hope, I know that this helps someone. Please, drop your comment below if you heard any of these, or if you heard something different. Let's have a discussion about it. Let's find out what God says about these things, if it's even in the Bible. Because I want you to know this: you have been wonderfully made. You are fearless. This is how God made you. He made you wonderful. He made you fearless. Okay, even He said, I have not given you the spirit of fear, but the spirit of power. And if you know this, you have power to overcome your situation. And that these things have been added unto us. And until we start to, apply them to our life accordingly, we won't see the manifestation of them. So, if it's still in your head that you can't make it without your husband, if it's still in your head that my children will never amount to anything, if it's still in your head God will not speak to me, if it's still in your head that I am nothing without my husband, I'm cursed, I'm weak, and I'm in disobedience because I did not submit to my husband, God didn't never said that was true. God actually said the opposite. You are His beloved. You are the apple of His eye. And that He have plans for you to prosper you. So I challenge you to find a scripture, stand on it, and manifest it in your life. And that concludes the end of the video. As I say once again, please leave your comments below. I hope to hear from everyone or anyone. And stay blessed.